Hi, my name is Miss Buck and I'm the Title I teacher at Mark Twain Elementary. Just so you know, I have my daughter here with me in my video at home. So if you hear any talking or babbling or silly noises, it's probably her. Yeah. So my role at the school is to pull children into small groups or individually to work on anything that they are struggling with in their everyday classroom. So this video is about alphabet and letters and sounds and some low-tech ways that you can address those with your child. Remember, we have a lot of technology in the world, but sometimes the best thing for a child is some one-on-one attention with an adult. So now is a good time to check this video out, see if any of this works for you and your family. These are not teacher supplies that I'm using in this video. These are all just household items, a lot of them from the dollar store. And this is my first video, so there might be some goofy mistakes, and I apologize in advance. Enjoy your time with your child. Thank you. Alright, so I'm going to go over some tools that you can use in your home. These are not teacher tools. These are just average things that I have in my house. One thing that I find to be really helpful as a tool for kids to practice writing is to have a page protector. And you can just put a piece of computer paper inside the page protector. And now you have an instant whiteboard if you have a whiteboard marker. I can use just a Kleenex or even my finger to erase the whiteboard marker. These whiteboard markers can be pretty inexpensive. You can get these at the dollar store, as you can get page protectors. They make a great tool, especially if you're wanting your child to practice their handwriting. You can write their name or the alphabet letters in question that you want them to work on, and you can slip that into their page protector, and they can work on tracing over their name or the alphabet or words that you would like them to work on. So you have an instant, inexpensive, easy to use whiteboard. A lot of kids like it if you put pastel colored paper inside these. You don't have to, it's just sometimes a bonus. Some children find it easier to write and read on light blue paper. If you had a piece of light blue, like construction paper, you could always cut that to fit and put that inside. See, it's a little bit too big, but you could always cut a piece of paper that's colored to fit inside your makeshift whiteboard. Now, when you're working with your child on practicing their name, please encourage them to repeat the letters as they write their name. So you would say capital M, S, period, capital B, U, C, K, and encourage them to say this out loud as they are writing their name. Especially in kindergarten, they should be able to write their complete first and last name, and they should know all the letters in their name. By the end of kindergarten, they do need to know all of their letters, upper and lowercase, and all of the sounds that they make. But that is a good place to start if you know that your child is struggling with their alphabet. Now, if you feel like they have mastered tracing their name and they are doing good at repeating the letters, you can ask them, all right, now you show me how to write your name. And they could maybe practice their own underneath. And a fun little game is to try to find the best one, and they will decide, oh, I think this one's the best. I'll put a smiley face next to it. Or Mommy, can you put a star next to the best one? Something like that, to kind of get them to check themselves, to check their work and decide what is superior, what is inferior, what would they change. giving them a little bit of accountability. So when you're working on practicing letters and sounds and writing letters on a whiteboard, please ensure that your child is starting their letters at the top and working their way down. Now yes, a child can start from the bottom and make a sufficient letter, but starting from the top and working down will help in their printing being better looking, and also help them write faster. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal when they're in kindergarten, but having their letters being formed at the top and working their way down instead of starting at the bottom working up, it does change how they appear, and it does change the speed at which a lot of children write, and it can hold them up when they're trying to get their thoughts and ideas onto the page when they are clumsily writing their letters from top to bottom or back to front instead of from top down, from left to right. So another fun thing that you can do when it comes to trying to get your child to know all of their letters and sounds is you can make your own flashcards. And you can use any paper for this. You can make it any size you want. The best way to figure out which letters to work on, because you don't necessarily want to work on all of the letters at once if your child is really struggling, that's really intimidating. You might want to decide which ones does my child not know right away, and maybe just focus on 3 or 4 and work on those. When you have those, then maybe work on another 3 or 4, and make sure you're modeling to them how to say that letter and what sound it makes. For example, don't always just expect them to know, like, oh, they just know that's an A. Start with the capital letters because they're more identifiable, they are more graphic, and there's a difference between them, easier than lowercase letters. For example, lowercase b, lowercase d, lowercase q, and lowercase p pretty much all look the same, except for they're flipped around. It's the same looking letter, D and B, B and D. It's incredibly confusing. So starting with the capital letters can be a little bit more successful and help your child gain a little bit of confidence. So once we have all of our letters, we could cut them out. We're going to pretend like this is full, and we would obviously need another piece of orange paper because we do not have enough slots. I also try to find letters that not only sound different in your name, like B, G, P, those all sound similar, but A and G, those two words sound very different. A and F, those two words sound very different. And I would also try to find letters that look different if your child is really struggling with their alphabet. So maybe we would just focus on A, F, and G. And maybe these would just be the ones that we worry about right now. E and G sound similar. E and F look similar. Maybe we'll wait on that. So when I'm going through these with a child, I would say it for them, G, and then have them repeat after me, G. Then we would say G, G, the sound G makes. Then we would try to come up with as many words as we could think of that had that G sound, especially at the beginning. If you have kinder or first grade kiddos, you really need to think of that initial sound first. It's a lot harder when you ask them to think of a word that has this in the middle or the end. So I might say G, G, like goose. Have them repeat the words after you. Goose, grape, gorilla, and make a game out of it. See if they can come up with any. See if you can have any silly sentences that have as many G starting words as you can think of. And then maybe move on to A, move on to F, and maybe shuffle them and then go over it again. This is A, apple, artist, astronaut, as many as you can think of. Have fun with it. And then maybe start asking your child now to repeat them. Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? And kind of see how well they're doing with it. Maybe they need more support from you. Maybe they need you to be repeating these more, or maybe they've already got them and can move on to giving you more words that have these sounds. You will have to do a little bit of the rating of your child's speed on your own. So once you feel like they're really confident with the capital or uppercase letters, you can make another set with the lowercase letters, and you can play a fun matching game. Yeah, G and F, right? G, F. So you could fill out all of your lowercase letters as well. Now, for the letters like B and P and D, make sure you put a line underneath them, because that's B. But if I turn it upside down, that could be a 9 or a Q. This is D, but if I turn it upside down, it looks just like a P. So make sure you can differentiate between those. So a fun activity after you feel your child has their uppercase or capital letters under control, you can start having them try to match these letters, the uppercase and the lowercase, together. And you can try to scramble them and have them match all the pairs. You can make it a race once you feel like they know a few more. You can play a memory game where you maybe flip over certain cards and they have to try to remember where the matches are. That is a really fun one, because then you can kind of see where their level actually is. Like, do they actually know these letters, or are they just going off of your cues? Make sure that you try to support them in the ways that they're not just going off of your facial structure or your eyes where they're leading. Try to get them to come up with these answers themselves. So you could play a memory game like where they try to flip over and find a match and try to remember, where did they see that letter? Oh, I remember this one. So then maybe it's their turn and oh, yay, they made a match, and they could keep that one for themselves. So I don't have any teacher supplies with me here at the house today, but I just had scissors, I had markers, I had construction paper, pencils, and I think the only thing that would be a little bit of money if you don't have it, but which you can get at the dollar store, was this page protector. You can get a bunch of them. Or a dry erase marker. And you can get these in colors also, if that's something that you think your kid would enjoy more. I hope this was helpful, and just remember, a lot of times all your child wants and needs is maybe just a little bit of one-on-one time with you. Keep these sessions short but strong, about 10-15 minutes for younger kids. Have a break and maybe come back to it later in the day. I hope this was helpful, and enjoy the time with your family.